hadn't shown a profit. Agora é negativo. Had not shown a profit. Repeat. Hadn't. Eu botei not para mostrar que é negativo aí. Vamos falar tudo de novo. E bankrupt quer dizer quando uma empresa perde todo o seu dinheiro e fecha. The business went bankrupt because they hadn't shown a profit. Número 8. Ele não viajou porque ele já tinha quebrado o pé dele na noite anterior. Repeat. He didn't go on the trip because he broke, excuse me, that's past tense. He had broken his foot the night before. Repeat. Number 9. Eu percebi que eu tinha esquecido minha mala quando eu cheguei em casa. Qual ação aconteceu primeiro aqui? Quando você esqueceu sua mala, essa ação que aconteceu primeiro, depois você percebeu. Então tem que botar past perfect para esse verbo forget. I realized that I had forgotten my briefcase when I got home. Repeat. Número 10. Number 10. Quando eu conheci Steve, ele já tinha conseguido seu título, um título da faculdade, degree. Repeat in English. When I met Steve, he had just gotten his degree. Repeat again. When I met Steve, quando eu conheci Steve, repeat. When I met Steve, he had just gotten his degree. Okay, let's go back over here and point out some things. In English, when you see before, after, as soon as, these are some words that are going to be giving you a hint as to what American speakers do. American speakers, when they use these, they don't use this tense, which they should. If you're going to take a test, an important test like the TOEFL, or a test that's going to decide if you get placed in a career, you need to use the proper English because it counts on those tests. In this case, we have a different English that people will speak from what they should be speaking. Americans often drop the verb have, and they just use the participle here, and that's wrong. Before he went to work, he stopped at the store. When you see these three words here, be aware. All right? Let an alarm go up in your head that you need to be careful, because most Americans are going to say, repeat after me, before he stopped, before he went to work, he stopped at the store. Before he went to work, he stopped at the store. Now, most Americans will not even realize that that's wrong because it sounds fine for our ears. However, if you're going to be taking a test that has to do with grammar, you're going to have to know to use the past perfect there. Instead of before he went to work, he had stopped at the store. You would have to say that because he stopped at the store first, and you need to use the verb in the past perfect tense. But I wanted to point that out. If you really want to speak like a native speaker and sound American, then you can do this too when you see these. But you always have to remember that to be grammatically correct, you have to put had stopped when you're taking a test. Okay? Let's summarize. What is the past perfect? The past perfect is a grammar tense which we use to create speech, which takes the verbs, when there's two verbs in the past in the same sentence, you have to take one of the verbs and show which verb happened first. That way you know which verb was the action that happened before the other action happened. So, em português, o verbo que aconteceu primeiro, a ação que aconteceu primeiro, você vai botar em past perfect tense. Agora, vamos dar uma olhada aqui. When there's two or more actions that happened in the past, duas ações que aconteceram no passado, não aconteceu em nos momentos exatamente. Uma aconteceu em outro momento e não foi exatamente juntos. Então, você tem que botar uma delas assim. Use the form for the verb that happened first. He couldn't dance because he had broken his foot. He had broken his foot. That's what happened. That's what caused him to not be able to dance. That's what caused it. Isso que causou ele não poder dançar, porque ele quebrou o pé. Então tem que botar in past perfect tense. Look at before, after, and as soon as. When you use those, often you're not going to have the verb have in there. Okay, that summarizes the past perfect tense, and we'll go ahead and move on to the next page, which is the modal auxiliaries on page